Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/ChiroBusinessMojo. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Welcome to the Chiro Business Mojo podcast, where we deconstruct the methods, marketing, and mindset of successful business people and chiropractors from around the world. And now your host, Dr. Richard Day.
Yes, I am Dr. Richard Day, and this is the Chiro Business Mojo podcast. So nice to be with you again today. Well, what I want to talk about is something called the abundance mindset. And if you've studied business or been in the business world for any length of time, I'm sure you've heard the term. So I've been hearing it a lot lately, and I wasn't really sure where the term came from. And I've read what it means in a couple of different places, and I've listened to other people talk about it, but I never really came away with a good sense of what the abundance mindset is. And if you haven't heard about it, it goes something like this. We need to have an abundance lifestyle. We need to come at things from an abundant mindset, not a scarcity mindset. Many of us are held back by a scarcity mindset. That is, we are afraid of everything and we don't want to succeed. Now, that's partially true. That's a little sliver of it, but that's really what I've been getting when I listen to other business sources and read other business columns and websites and things like that. So I did a little Googling, which doesn't take long, and it turns out Stephen Covey first coined the term. And he is the guy who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People way back when, I think in the 90s. And I haven't read the book. I read it when it first came out, but I haven't read it recently. So I didn't associate it with Covey at all, but I went back to what Covey actually talked about, and then I thought about how it applies to us as chiropractors and as business people, and I can kind of see where the current people, where they are coming up with this, and it does make sense. So I want to cover a little bit of that today, in case you have never heard the concept, or you have heard it but weren't quite sure what it means and how to apply it. So what Covey was talking about in his 7 habits, he was talking about habit number 4, and that is to think win-win in any given situation or conflict. And the scarcity mindset comes from this, that there is not enough of the pie to go around. So in order for me to win my piece of pie, someone else has to lose. Anything I get at the expense of someone else who doesn't have it. And that's it. He calls this a zero-sum game. So there's a winner and there's a loser, and that is that. And if you don't want to be a loser, you have to fight for your slice of the pie. What he says is maybe there's another approach that's a little bit better, because that approach, fighting for that piece of pie, is very limiting. It limits our thought process and what we bring into our lives. So he says this win-win philosophy isn't about being nice, and that it's not a quick fix technique. It's actually a character-based code for human interaction and collaboration. And I really like what he's talking about with this. So it's a character-based code. It's how we're going to live our life. It's one of the pillars, or in his case, he calls it habits, that we're going to approach every situation with. He also points out that most of us base our self-worth on comparisons and competition. And I've talked about this in the past. Tony Robbins talks about this, that the vast majority of unhappiness in the world stems from having an expectation of where you want to be and comparing what you have to what others have, and seeing that there's a rift or a distance between those two, and then we are sad and disappointed. And so Covey says, let's not do that. He really looks at it as a cooperative arena and not a competitive one. Now, competition is real, to be sure. If I was going for a gold medal in the Olympics, I am not coming at it with an abundance mindset that there's plenty of gold medals to go around. I am working my tail off to win the gold medal. I think this is a different situation in this way, that solutions to a lot of problems are mutually beneficial. We are all in the same fabric of humanity, so to speak, and there's a way that we can get what we want and serve and give back at the same time. And if I think about this in the context with our patients, I think, yes, I am giving something to them, and they are giving something to me in return. And I'm not the only person in town, right? There are other chiropractors. In the case of our Colorado clinic, there's one 2 blocks away. So patients have a choice in who they want to go to. And I can come at this from a competitive standpoint, that I'm going to bury the guy down the street 2 blocks away, or I can come at it from an abundance mindset. And that is that I am doing my level best to help every patient every time. And I recognize that maybe it won't be a right fit. That is my personality or my practice style or whatever the case may be for that particular patient's needs and who they are as a person. We just may not mesh. And that's fine. And this has happened over the years. I have lost some patients to the guy down the street and he has lost some patients to me. People just sort of wanted to try new things, or they wanted to, there was a problem with the other guy or with me, and they ended up shifting around. This doesn't happen very often, but I am not in a competitive mindset with the people around me. I'm out to be incredible and provide my own incredible service and my version of what chiropractic is to me and what my vision of patient health is. And either someone is going to vibe with that or they are not. And that is okay with me. So without even really realizing that I had an abundance mindset, so to speak, that is the direction I've been approaching my practice for a number of years. And that's just looking at it from the standpoint of having chiropractors around you that you may view as competition. I also look at how it's a win-win for the patient and myself. And now we're not competing with the patient, so to speak, but I guess in a way we are. If you've ever had a patient that comes in and they want to be the doctor, right? Because they've Googled some things and they're in charge of their own healthcare and they're going to direct you how you're going to adjust them. I've had that as well. And again, I come at it from a very much a win-win standpoint. I assume that when they walk in the door, they are there because there is something that they cannot do for themselves on their own. And I am going to help them with that. And I assume, and I ask this of them, also, what are your health goals? Well, usually it's primarily initially to get out of pain. But beyond that, we talk about what got them into pain and how we can make a pain-free life more part of their life, a healthier life, how that's more the norm instead of the abnormal. So I see us on the same side. And the enemy is lack of health, lack of function, lack of abundance, I guess, in their life as well. However you want to define health, I see myself and the patient on the same side. And that is where our mutual interests are. And so what I do is I get them involved in taking responsibility for their health. I do this in a number of ways. I have them jump on a stretching machine that we have in our office and they do some active stretching. I have them do home exercises. I have them do icing at home and home care. And I tell them I'm only going to see them 2 or 3 times a week, but they're going to live with themselves morning, noon, and night. And so I'm going to do my part. They need to do their part. And together we're going to beat whatever it is that we are working on or try our level best to do so. So Covey goes on to say this. He says, if you have a win-win attitude or an abundance mentality, you're going to have integrity. You're going to stick with your true feelings, values, and commitments. You're going to have maturity. You're going to express your ideas and feelings with courage, consideration for the ideas and feelings of others. Abundance mentality, believing there is plenty for everyone. And that's really the biggest key. There is plenty for everyone. There are plenty of chiropractors for patients out there. There are plenty of different patient types for every other chiropractor in the world. They're just, it's really freeing when you are not coming from a place of scarcity. Now, when I take myself back to when I first opened my very first practice, there is a scarcity mindset. And you have to have that because you don't want to go out of business, right? You are hoping that you have enough money to break even. And really for us, that's the goal. And I think that should be the goal, at least initially, until you are breaking even. But there always should be above and beyond that a bigger picture. And that is the abundance mindset. It's not really too far beyond if you've just opened your doors or are getting ready to. It's right around the corner. But also at the same time, be smart. Make sure you're not overexpending. That's one thing abundance mindset is. It's not, hey, I'm going to go run up a bunch of credit card bills because I know I'm going to be successful because if I build it, they will come. It's not that at all. So other folks like John Maxwell, he is a well-known motivational speaker and coach, and he's taken it a step further. And what he says is that leaders who allow a scarcity mindset to work its way into their culture will pay a high price. That's when resources like money, opportunity, and recognition are perceived to be limited. Then he says that paranoia, fear, and politics thrive. So in this environment, people become nervous and afraid to make mistakes. And as a result, teamwork and innovation suffer. And I can really see that even in small teams like we have in our chiropractic offices, you really don't want to come at things with a scarcity mindset. So he offers some suggestions on really how to put yourself in that, get yourself out of the scarcity mindset and put yourself into the abundance mindset. And I like these because there are definite actionable things you can start doing tomorrow. So the first one is offer words of appreciation to anyone who works for you, to anyone who is doing a good job, a patient. Say, I appreciate that you are doing so well with your home exercises. I can really see this is starting to pay off, or words to that effect. But let people know how much you value what it is that they do. Choose to see opportunity. When something happens, and something's always going to happen, start viewing it as an opportunity. And one of the things that I've talked about before, and this isn't my original thought, Tony Robbins really said it best, is that people think that life is happening to them when it's really happening for them. And so that's another way of looking at it is to say, choose to see the opportunity. When things happen to you, they aren't really. They're happening for you, and they're providing you an opportunity. And I've seen it in my personal life with my first marriage that did not work out, unfortunately. And in business, when things don't work out as well, if you hire the wrong person, it's got to be looked at as an opportunity. It comes with the game of life, and really when it comes down to what you control is how you see it. So start seeing those things as opportunities. And even if they're an unwelcome opportunity, know that when these things happen, we always figure out a way, and we always come out better on the other end. Remind yourself that there is more than enough. That I kind of haven't beaten this to death, but there's plenty out there. Plenty of patience, plenty of money to be made. It doesn't matter how many chiropractors are out there or in your area. I'm here in Kansas City, and the word is that it's very saturated with chiropractors. And that's true. There's a lot of chiropractors around, but there's a lot of chiropractors doing very, very well. So I don't think it's that big of a factor. I haven't seen it to be so, that's for sure. And neither the people that are making it aren't saying the same thing either. And very often, the people that aren't making it, it is for a lot of reasons that have more to do with themselves than how many chiropractors are around their office. Carefully select the company you keep. Remember, you are the average of the sum total of 5 people, the 5 people that are around you the most. So you need to keep good company so that you guys are all sharing the same mindset. Spend some time in reflection. I talked about this 21 days of gratitude, but that's definitely a way that you can change your mindset and get it out of the scarcity mode and start getting it into the abundance mode. And this is the last one here is give more of what you want. This one's counterintuitive, but you start giving more than you are taking. And a perfect example is this podcast. There are a lot of people giving freely their time to me, and I am putting a lot of time into providing this. I'm not getting anything for it. I'm simply giving. Now, on the back end, at some point, it would be nice to have something that come back to me in some way, but I really believe that it will. I am giving first. I am not waiting to receive before I'm going to give. It's not a one-for-one type of investment. So keep that in mind in your life. So I would like to contrast for you just a little bit further the differences between the abundance mindset and the scarcity mindset. And this was compiled by someone named Michael Hyatt, who's also got a podcast and does some coaching work. So the scarcity mindset says there is never enough. The abundance mindset says there is always more, where that came from. The scarcity mindset, it's stingy with knowledge, contacts, and compassion. But the abundance mindset is happy to share knowledge, contacts, and compassion. The scarcity mindset defaults to suspicion and is hard to build rapport with. The abundance mindset person defaults to a rapport and builds trust really easily. The scarcity mindset person resents competition and makes the pie smaller and them weaker. But the abundance mindset person, as you probably have guessed, is going to welcome competition. It makes the pie larger and them stronger. The scarcity person is going to ask themselves, how can I get by with less than expected? Whereas the abundance mindset person is going to ask themselves, how can I give more than expected? And we are in the business of service. We are here to serve. Always be thinking about how you can serve your patients' needs better. At least that's what I try to do, and I do day in and day out. The scarcity mindset person is pessimistic about the future. They think tough times are ahead, whereas the abundance mentality person is optimistic about the future and the best is yet to come. The scarcity mindset person thinks small and avoids risk. But the abundance mindset person thinks big and embraces risk. And I want to stop right there and say, smart risk. Not every risk is a great risk to take just because you're thinking big and you're going to take risks on everything. I've seen people do it, and I don't think it's very smart. So take smart risks, but don't be afraid to take those smart risks. And lastly, scarcity mindset they are entitled and fearful, whereas someone with the abundant mindset is thankful and confident. So you always want to have gratitude for what it is, and you look back and you're going to see what you have to be thankful for and grateful for, and you're going to have an air of confidence about you because you know that you have a lot of good things in your life, and those will never be taken from you. You can be thankful for those accomplishments or the places that you've been or the degrees or certifications that you hold. You will have those things, and you're going to be confident from reflecting on those. I hope this has been helpful to you. I hear the term a lot, and to really nail down what it is and how you can achieve this sort of nebulous concept. At least to me, I was thinking abundant lifestyle. Well, I'm going to go on a shopping spree. That is not what it is. It's something completely different. So I hope this has been helpful to you, and we'll catch you next time. Hey, this is Dr. Day. I hope you are enjoying the show. If you are, please do us a favor and jump on over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and review. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Cairo Business Mojo podcast at www.cairobusinessmojo.com.